Tiram and Hariom, everyone. We'd like to start by thanking everyone who has sent our family their thoughts, condolences, and prayers over the past week. It really means a lot to us, our parents, and Ba to have the support and love of so many friends and family members. A special thanks to everyone who is here today to share in our remembrance of Dada and his life. If you haven't already, please leave a message for him on the photo pages we have placed at the entrance. Dada was so many things to me as he played many roles in my life. In addition to being an amazing grandfather, he was my guardian who walked me to and from the school bus stop. He was my first roommate, as he and I shared a room in the house I grew up in. And he was a teacher who taught me many things, from how to play games to our family history by sharing his stories. There's so much he passed on to me over his life, some of which is coded in genetics. Many of my physical features, including our misaligned teeth that Dad proudly reminds me skipped a generation. and my taste in Indian food, so much that we share some of the same favorites. Fafda chutney and marcha, magas, misri, and peda, to name a few. And other things I learned, from picking up general knowledge and facts when watching Jeopardy together, I was surprised at some of the things he knew, to receiving Dada's color commentary and explanations when sitting next to him amidst a group conversation, where he would quietly provide his unique perspective. There's so many things I'm going to miss about Dada, but I'm glad he waited for us to have one last holiday season together as a family, where I was reminded about so many of the things I love about him. From experiencing his kindness of always saying excuse me and please when asking for help, to seeing him simply find joy in simple things like taking photos and holding hands. Even though dementia and Alzheimer's left him confused and not always able to remember who I was, in an odd way, these mental afflictions proved who he really was. He showed me the same love and respect when he recognized his grandson as he did when I was simply a stranger he didn't know. While Dada's passing has been sad and in many ways surprising given how fine he seemed just a few weeks ago, I've taken solace in remembering the time spent with him, looking back at photos, and most of all hearing stories about him from family and friends. And to that end, from a kid who's just lost his grandfather, I ask you not only for your sympathies and prayers, but also for you to share all your memories and stories of him with me. There are many memories of Dada from my childhood that I don't recall. So many stories in the years that I haven't lived at home. And so much about his life before he became a full-time grandfather that I still just don't know. There's nothing more comforting or that would make me happier than to hear about him from you. Dada, I love you and I miss you. I know you're happy and content because, as you always said, why not?
As I look forward to getting married, I can only begin to reflect on Ba and Dada's marriage. Not only has it lasted 67 years, it also spanned great distances. While Dada continued working in Tanzania, Ba moved back to India so that she moved back to India with their son so that they could receive their education. No matter the difficulty, together, they provided opportunity and served their family the best they could. As we've moved to different corners of the world, it's through their example that we remain connected and dedicated to each other and our family. Dada first moved to the US when Neil was born. Despite being a few months away from claiming his pension in the UK, he dropped everything and moved to America. Without giving it a second thought, Dada made these personal sacrifices and prioritized and embraced his role as our grandfather. Though we didn't realize it when we were younger, and perhaps we've taken it for granted, the five of us have been extremely blessed to have grown up with Dada as such a central figure in our lives. Over the years, Dada has imparted many lessons to us. He was always extremely meticulous in everything he did, whether it be neatly folding grocery bags or crisply ironing his laundry. He taught us that we should strive for perfection in everything that we do, no matter how little or big the task. When we were little, Dada would play games with us, like rummy and checkers, but he would never just let us win to make us happy. He taught us that if we wanted it, we would have to earn it, fair and square. The joy he took in sharing everyday pleasures with the people he loved, whether a cup of chai or an evening walk, has taught us to cherish each other and the time we have together. But in everything he taught us, he only ever did so through example and never through expectation. In all these years, Dada never once asked any of us what grades we got, what we planned to study, or how much we earned. He never imposed his own expectations on us. He simply wanted us to do the best that we could and to be happy. He loved us just as we are. Though it was never his explicit intention, we've all managed to follow in his footsteps in some small way. Like Dada, Neil is a history and politics buff. Sumit is a banker. Volu exercises precision as a surgeon. Rajan is a staunch Democrat, and I'm on track to live in as many countries as Dada had. But we can only hope that we will live up to his example in the most important ways. In the way we value family, in treating everyone with respect, and in finding happiness and contentment with whatever we have been given. Dada, I love you and miss you. And although you are no longer physically with us, you will never truly leave us. You have made us who we are, and we will carry your memories and legacy forward.
Our Dada was a good man. That may seem like a simple thing, but I believe it may be one of the most difficult things to genuinely achieve. Yet our Dada made it seem effortless. He lived by example and exemplified what being good meant in the most basic ways. Treat everyone with kindness and respect, celebrate achievements and learn from failure, but don't find self-worth in either of them. Live humbly, smile often, love unwaveringly. He was an even-keeled ship, stalwart no matter the storm around him. I find that in times of challenge and difficulty, poetry helps me process my emotions and face the next day. If you'd bear with me, I'd like to share one with you by Max Ehrman that I found solace in this past week, and to me embodies what Dada lived on a daily basis. Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others. Even the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter. For always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love. For in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength to spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God, whatever you conceive him to be. And whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. Too often, though, we speak about those who have passed away in the past tense, but I'm not so sure that's right. Dada may not be with us in the form that we remember him, but he is definitely still here. He exists in the gentle love and warmth of our Ba, wanting nothing but happiness for us all. He lives on in the determination and faithfulness of his two sons, who honor his name and what they've accomplished. He's felt in the steadfast devotion and kindness of Mom and Motimom, guiding us through all the tough times. He's tangible in the sense of responsibility and duty my older brother Neil embodies as a son, brother, husband, and father. I see him in Sumit's easygoing and composed demeanor, belying incredible talent and effort. His heart is present in Rajan's sense of justice and unrelenting efforts to forge his own path and make this world a better place. He exists clearly in Komo's thoughtfulness and compassion, where a simple word or gesture can put your mind at ease. He lives on in each of us, and because of that, he's not truly gone. So, our Dada is a good man, the best. I love him, and I miss him.
We kids are so lucky. Many of my friends were born after their grandparents had passed, while we've had the privilege of having Dada see us grow up from birth to the adults we are today. And Dada was not just a distant grandparent that we saw every once in a while. He has been a core part of our lives since birth. And while a constant pillar at our home, Dada was never the loud center of attention. He would quietly sit and do his word search puzzles, passively take in the conversations and interactions around him, and only occasionally tap one of us on the shoulder, signaling to his wrist, "Get la bagya." It's 2:30, Dada. Na hoy. Taro gadiar boti mu chale che. 10 minutes later, the exact same conversation would happen. Dada not truly believing that his 4 p.m. tea time could possibly be so far away. But while Dada never drew attention to himself, now that he's gone, we can feel a powerful void in the home. I feel it when I see his seat on the sofa empty, when I don't have to help him walk to his room, or when no one accuses me of having a faulty watch. He will be sorely missed, but his spirit will undoubtedly live on through us. Probably the most defining characteristic of Dada was his equanimity, his extreme calm. Even with dementia, when he did not know who he was, where he was, who was around him, or what was going on, he remained tranquil as ever. In fact, I think I was the only one who was able to successfully work him up to the point of scolding. I'm known for always teasing Ba, giving her a hard time, whether we be pinching her or just messing with her. When Dada would see this, he would get frustrated and harshly tell me, "Hey, you leave my wife alone now." But really, Dada's steady contentedness is something I admire and I strive for. A few years ago, when the two of us were home alone, holding hands, I asked him to share some life advice with me. His response was, "Just be happy." That was his advice, to just be happy. It may seem silly to suggest someone to simply be happy, but within that is Dada's sage wisdom. that happiness is a choice, that we should not relinquish the power of our own emotions or happiness to anyone or to anything else, to choose to be content with what we have. And to think, for my entire childhood, Mom woke me up at 7 a.m. every Sunday to go to Chinmay Mission and to study Vedanta, when I could have just slept in and learned the same lessons from Dada at home. I'm reminded of what true exuberance and joy is when I play with Naina. She's thrilled by simply having a companion to partake in small activities with her. She's unburdened by the internal obstacles that we all face when searching for happiness, unadulterated by the cynicism we all slowly develop. But somehow, up until the age of 89, Dada in many ways remained the same. He never lost his ability to find bliss in the simplest of things, from holding hands to dipping a Ritz cracker in cha. Less than a month ago, I was able to experience this one last time when we both brought out our inner children and played a game of catch. It was something I didn't think much of at the time, but a memory I'll now carry with me forever. Dada, you've lived a great life and you've quietly transformed the lives of so many others. I'm grateful for all that you've given me, and I hope to honor your legacy by embodying the principles that you've imparted on me through example. Value that which is truly important to you, and to create my own happiness. I love you.
દાદા, ધર્મજમાં ધીરજબાના ઘરે અમારી માટે એક ખુરશી રાખજો. પ્રવીણ દાદાને બોલાવજો, રાવજી દાદાને બોલાવજો. ચા પીવા અને મગજ ખાવા આવીશું. As the others had said before me, one of the central things to who Dada was his consistency. He never wavered in the simple things that brought him joy. Throughout his life, he enjoyed his food, especially if it was spicy, and he always had to have his dessert. He was meticulous in how he dressed, and he never smiled more than when he wore a coat and tie. He was steadfast in his happiness and his contentment. There are few things that could shake him, except, of course, by telling him he couldn't do something. You can't have more sugar in your cha. 5 spoons is enough. You've already had enough muggas. You're snoring too loudly. Those things would bring out the strongest piercing glare that you've ever seen. And one day I hope to match him in his skills. Another thing that was constant about him was his love and trust in Mom. In anything that he needed help with, she was the first person he consulted. And the care she gave Dada in the last years of his life were beyond what anybody can rightly expect from a daughter. Dada was blessed to have had that. Dada always played the lotto. I don't think he won much cash, but he hit the jackpot that the day Dad married Mom. We can't properly remember Dada's life and the impact it had on us without remembering his siblings, Hansa and Ramesh Dada. They overcame distance and long periods of being apart, and although we live in all corners of the world today, because of their example, our circle is as strong as ever. Whether it's to celebrate a wedding, seeing Tulsi and Mira grow up, or even just Sumit going to dinner at Sanju Kaka's home, we cherish the time we're able to spend with one another. Similarly, his relationship with Rauji Dada was long-lasting and deep. As a young man in Tanzania, he forged a friendship with his then co-worker. While most people strive to create bonds that last a lifetime, Dada managed to establish ones that have lasted 4 generations. Even today, nearly 6 decades later, we recognize Rauji Dada's family as our own uncles and aunts, cousins, and confidants. As for what Dada taught me, there's too much to put in a single speech. How do you summarize a lifetime of lessons in a short speech? The joys of simplicity and how to be happy in one's life to never chase coin, but to always cut the coupons perfectly on the line, to be happy with family and friends as they are, to be brief in your words, but not in their meaning, to do those things in life that bring you peace. In the end, we'll take comfort in each other and in all the memories of Dada that we have remembered these past days. The discussions, the laughter, and the simple happiness of just holding hands and smiling. આપણા ઉપનિષદમાં લખેલું છે કે તમારા છેલ્લા વિચાર જે હોય એ તમારા જીવને એવું જ મળશે. અમારા દાદાના છેલ્લા શબ્દ રામ રામ હતા. એટલે અમારા પ્રાર્થના છે કે હવે રામ ભગવાન એમની સાથે શાંતિથી રાખે. જય શ્રી રામ, જય શ્રી કૃષ્ણ, હરે ઓમ.